Good afternoon. We can do better than that for sure. Good afternoon. We're so excited to see you folks this afternoon. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Miller. I'm the Director of Athletic Bands here at UNC Charlotte and the fearless leader of this wonderful group of students that you have out here today that are ready to give you one heck of a performance. It's been an awesome 2 weeks of camp, and today is the culmination of all of their hard work and all of their effort. And so we've got a great performance lined up for you this afternoon. Before we get started with that performance, there are a couple things that we want to just kind of quickly talk about, and a very important person we want to introduce that's new to our staff today. But before we introduce him, before we introduce him, if you were a returning member's parent, you remember this experience pretty well last year. This was an inaugural year last year around this time. We were giving this performance for the very first time ever. And so it's really excited we're really excited, of course, to now come back with version 2.0. This is kind of becoming a tradition for us, and so we're really excited again to give this performance to you this afternoon. Last year we marched 145 members in the band. First time ever UNC Charlotte having a marching band, and we marched 145 kids. That's no easy task. Our students last year performed at all the home games, and if you came to some of those, you probably got wet just like the band did. And we were here through victories and through losses, and cheering on the crowd and cheering on the team as best as we could. So they certainly are the heartbeat of football games in terms of keeping everything together and keeping the spirit of the game going, even when things aren't going as well as perhaps we might like on the gridiron. That being said, we performed in all the home games. We did 2 exhibition performances last year at 2 different high school marching competition events. We performed at the Novant Health Thanksgiving Day Parade, and so those are pretty big things, not just only doing a band camp and not only doing 6 games. We were pretty active for our very first year, and I'm incredibly proud of the work that our returning members all of our members from last year, but especially our returning members will remember that as they come this year. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but as many of you know that are sitting here, the band was invited to perform in Normandy, France at the end of last season. So that's a huge So for this year, 2016, we're just getting started, but there's just under 160 members in the band this year. And we'll continue our schedule again very much. We'll be at all the home football games. We're hoping to get out for at least, we're confirmed 1 exhibition performance down at Cuthbertson High School, so if there's any Cuthbertson folks, you'll see us down there. And we're hoping to get at least 1 more exhibition, and then we've got a Novant Health Thanksgiving Day Parade that we'll be performing at again this season as well. So we've got another active schedule ahead of us. The good news for you folks is that our first home football games, at least 4 of them, start at 6 p.m. Hooray! That's good news, because otherwise it's noon, and it's really hot at noon, and so we're very thankful that we have got some late start times. And so the kids are happy about that too, because we asked them to be here 5 hours before kickoff for our normal marching rehearsals, and so that's about 7 a.m. for those folks. So they're happy about it. The students that live in the dorms very close to where we practice are happy about that as well. All right, so that's kind of a quick overview of last year and this year as well, but I have a very important person that we added to the staff this year that kind of completes the staff picture for us. We didn't have an announcer last year. We had a wonderful stadium announcer who did a great job for us, but any college band worth its salt needs to have its own very own announcer, and we happen to have one of those this year with us. I'm going to introduce to you now Mr. Pete Herrick. There he is. Pete's been in the Northwest industry for about 27 years, and most of that time is in Charlotte's very own KISS 95.1 Ace and TJ show. You might recognize him by his radio name as Yankee Pete. And so Pete was one of several folks who solicited presented some demo tapes for us and read through scripts, and so it was a little bit of a rigorous process. It wasn't just a, hey, come join us kind of thing. There was actually a screening process, and so we're proud to have Pete with us. Pete's got a musical background and has done some voiceover work for Drum Corps International, and has quite a bit of work in normal voiceover stuff that he could probably tell you a little bit more about, but also an MCing experience. And so he's going to teach me how to do a better job of being an MC throughout his time here with us. But Pete is also a former band guy, has played lots of brass instruments, including tuba and a Dixieland band and all that good stuff. So we're certainly very proud to have Pete with us. Pete, you want to say a few words to anybody? Say hey.
I don't know, you hired me to read what's on the script.
And there it is.
I am so thrilled and excited to be here. I didn't know how rigorous a process it was going to be. The standard of the performances is well beyond what I was used to in my very minor band experience and career, and I am so thrilled to be here. Really thrilled about the 6 o'clock start times. But as I've been watching the leadership develop, the kids come in, well, not the kids, the young adults that have come in here, and what they're going to show you today will just be fantastic. And week by week, it's going to get better and more unique. I hope you enjoy the day. Thanks for being here.
The first portion of today's performance for you is basically a full run of our pregame performance. And so from high school to college, there are many different changes. One of those, at least within the marching world, is that we present a marching pregame performance. It's about 10 minutes in length. And so this is our chance to honor the histories and traditions of the university, as well as celebrate America through some patriotic selections that we perform. And so we're going to read through our script exactly as you would hear it on game day, and they're going to perform everything exactly as it would be. We don't actually have any flags out for today, so there is a performance of the national anthem that will happen. So we'll just pretend that we have a flag, at least for the moment. Everybody will stand silently, if you will, and just direct your attention towards the 50 for the band's performance. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the drum majors and let them do what they do best, and let you see what your students have been up to. Here is our run of pregame.
traditional Let's Go Niners cheer. We invite you to rise and join us in singing as Dr. Jeffrey Miller, UNC Charlotte's Director of Athletic Bands, conducts the Pride of Niner Nation in the UNC Charlotte alma mater. And now, we pay tribute to our great country and honor the men and women serving around the world in our armed forces with an American celebration. Of today's colors by the UNC Charlotte Air Force ROTC. And now, as you remain standing, placing your hand over your heart, while all veterans may render their hand salute, we invite you to join in singing as Dr. Jeffrey Miller, UNC Charlotte's Director of Bands, conducts the Pride of Niner Nation in our national anthem. Niners, let's join the Pride of Niner Nation, our cheerleaders and gold dusters, in the 49ers musical cheer.
Fight, Niners, fight. This is the point where we're waiting for the football team to come out running out of the tunnel. We're in our tunnel formation. We'll quickly do fanfare to fight song to exit the field. Cue as soon as you're set, we're ready. Of being year two is what you saw came together in about a day and a half. Can you believe that? Last year, almost the 2 weeks last year. It's year 2 is a breath of fresh air for many reasons, and of course having our returning member folks certainly does help. But a lot of the drill that the performers are marching was rewritten this year, and so they all also had to relearn some things as well. And for them to pick up things as quickly as they have shows a lot of integrity on their behalf, and certainly shows how hard they're willing to work. Our first 2 days at camp are basically teaching them how to march the way we do things here at UNC Charlotte. And then after that, it's drill setting with fundamental, what we call fun block. And that's a fundamental block. So they're in a block, and we're actually learning our marching techniques and doing all that. But we call it fun block because it's fun to do. If you've ever been in a fun block, yeah, a couple of liar. We love fun block, yes we do. Yeah. So that's our pregame performances. So that's something that you'll see every home game that you come to. It's something unique to us at UNC Charlotte, and certainly it's a pleasure for us to be able to perform. So while they're getting set up for the standstill portion, I want to take a moment to introduce a few staff folks that are down here on the field with us, and to recognize a few folks that are part of the staff that just don't happen to be here today, unfortunately. Dr. Sean Smith is our director of bands here at the university. He and I work very closely together to oversee the band department. Dr. Smith oversees all of the band department. If you think of him as the head coach, and I'm kind of the offensive and defensive coach. He oversees everything, and then as far as the athletic bands are concerned, I make sure that everything runs the way that it needs to be run. Dr. Chesley Black is down here on field with us today. He is our Student Leadership Program Director. Dr. Black he primarily works with our drum majors, but also assists me in coordinating with our almost 30 student leaders that we have in the band. He and I work with those students very closely to keep everything on the straight and narrow, and to keep us running the way that we need to run with our student leadership staff team. Nick Nichols is our marching percussion director. So all the boom booms and the chick chicks, all that good stuff that you hear out there, he's responsible for making it sound as awesome as it does, along with 2 staff members, one who unfortunately can't be here today, had to be at a wedding. That's Mr. David Guyon and Mr. Renee White, who is here today. For our color guard, which has grown immensely. If you were here with us last year, you see that we were at a smaller number. We're at 22 this year. We marched 15 last year, so we've grown quite a bit within the color guard, and that's largely due to Justin's leadership. This is Justin McDougall. And assisting him as a technician here throughout band camp is Nikki Credit. You've already met Pete Herrick, our announcer. We'll give him another round of applause if you will, please. I think he has a voice for this. I think we'll keep him. Yeah. We also have a photographer this year. That was another piece of the puzzle that we didn't have a dedicated photographer and videographer, and so we've hired him to be with us. Unfortunately, John couldn't be here today, but here's a quick round of applause for John Davis. There's a person who works in our office that works very closely with myself and Dr. Smith and Dr. Grimes, who's our department chair, who I'll recognize in just a little bit. Her name is Jennifer Anderson, and Jennifer is our business services coordinator, and she really keeps the ship running. She handles everything from purchases through bookkeeping to telling me what I'm doing wrong and all that good stuff. And so she is here somewhere, sitting out here. So Jennifer, would you stand up real quick and say hey? There's Jennifer. One of the really great things is everybody that's on our staff, they all have some sort of musical background. Whether it be marching an instrument, whether it be spinning in the color guard. Jennifer has a color guard background, as a former member of Carolina Crown and Santa Clara Vanguard color guards, and so it's really great to have a wonderful staff of folks who know about this profession, and they just make it such a dream to be able to do what it is that we do. Okay, so we do 3 performances every year for our halftime performances, and this year we've got 3 different, really unique and different shows. Show number 1 for us this year is what we're titling Symphonic Masterworks, and this is features some more classical type music. It's a little bit of a different direction for us from some of the things that we did last year, but really beautiful music, some by Paul Hindemith, some by Puccini, and some by Beethoven, and we're going to perform one of our pieces here, Standstill. In addition to learning pregame they learned all their first halftime show as well. And so we're like light years way ahead of where we were last year. And so we're really excited because that gives us an opportunity to start moving on to some of the other things a little bit faster. Which leads us to show number 2, which is something that we're calling Horn Hits. That's H-O-R-N, like if I played the trumpet, horn kind of thing. This is going to feature some music by Earth, Wind & Fire. Any Earth, Wind & Fire fans out there? We're doing a tune called Everybody's Everything by Santana, and then a tune by the late great trumpeter and band leader Bill Chase. And so that certainly is going to be a great show for us. One other thing that we've done this year to allow the students to have a little bit more investment into the program, because that's ultimately one of the big goals of this ensemble, is to have our students fully invested. And so we presented them with the opportunities to basically say, hey, we'd like to do these kind of shows. And so we as a staff took some of those ideas and put them together, and we've put together a student show that we're calling the Defenders of Justice, which will include themes from the original Batman and the original Spider-Man. It's pretty cool stuff that you're going to love those arrangements. Pixar's The Incredibles, and of course 007 himself with the theme from Goldfinger. And so that's going to be a really great show. Be a lot of fun. We've got some things in the works that might actually have some like stage fighting and that kind of stuff that'll go with the show. So it'll be a big fun one for sure for everybody. So going back to show number 1, we're going to quickly perform the opener from that show. And this is by Paul Hindemith, called The March from Symphonic Metamorphosis. So we do some different cheers and different types of things that we perform in the stands that you'll be accustomed to hearing. And so we want to take a moment to play some of those because these are a little bit less serious than the ones that we've been doing. So this is one that we call, and it's really original, this is called Band Cheer number 6. Not only do they spin flags, they do palm routines too. Volunteer number 6, thank you for that. Here's the theme from Drumline. That's Drum Major Bryce Harris up on the podium. Bryce is one of our new drum majors with us this year. Let's do a cadence. So this is Boogie. This is Game of Thrones. The theme from Game of Thrones for you. How about that? The show's just about to be off the air, but we're bringing it back with a vengeance. So here's our arrangement of Game of Thrones. It's going to be conducted by our head drum major, Quentin Wren. There's a story to this next cadence that we're going to do. So Nick was here with us in the start of the second year of the Drumline. So we were hanging out just kind of over here under the Judy Rose Center waiting for pregame to happen. And all of a sudden we just hear this person, man, screaming up from the top, "I want some pancakes!" It just kept screaming that. And so we thought it was just hilarious because it was just a random person screaming pancakes. So come to find out from one of the students of the band, they told me, so whenever a lineman lays somebody out, that's called pancaking. And so the story makes a little bit more sense now, but at the time it was totally random. And so this is a cadence we call Pancake Shuffle. with coming up with their own choreography. And so you've probably seen some interesting ones. The trumpets are back there playing golf and baseball. And that one, the mellophones are actually making pancakes, shuffling the pancake. So anyhow, we like to have a little bit of fun. Another tune that we're adding into the mix this year is a tune by Bruno Mars called Runaway Baby. Here's a final cadence that we'll do for you called Spider. We've got one final tune that we'd like to do for you, but before we do that, give them a chance to rest their hands and rest their lips for just a minute. We'll talk to you about our trip to France and talk to you, give you a sense of exactly what that means for us and the significance and, of course, how important that is. So prior to military sequesters and that sort of stuff that happened with our military bands in the United States were selected to perform in honor of lives that were lost in the D-Day attack. And so one of the honors now that's been bestowed upon college bands is to fill in the gaps from where those military bands are no longer able to travel. And so we are only one of a few groups that have actually been selected from the ranks of college bands to do this. And so we've been selected to perform in 2018's trip in June of 2018. And so one of the really great things about this is, in terms of honor, there's only one band from the United States that's selected to perform at any given time. And so we are one of those, and we're the first. So this is an 8-day trip, and we're giving performances in many significant areas in Normandy itself, and then at two different locations two cemetery performances in one. There's actually sort of a marching-based performance in the first city that was actually liberated as part of the D-Day ceremonies, and so that's a really germane thing for us as United States citizens to actually go and be on the ground where our American compatriots were. And it's really kind of a moving thing. We've been invited to do parades and those sorts of things, but this is obviously pretty significant for us and for our students to be in a piece of American history and world history for that matter. And so it's a real honor for us. This is an 8-day trip. There's some sightseeing stuff that happens along with it. It's not just work. There's a lot of play that's involved as well. We get some time after our performances are done. We actually get to go into Paris and do some sightseeing, and that doesn't include Disneyland or Disney World. We may actually have a free day where that might be a possibility, but that's still yet to be discussed and how that would work, of course. One of the challenges, of course, the honor of being selected is the great part, but one of the challenges, of course, is the cost that goes along with it. And so the overall expected cost per students, this is just flat out if we were all to go, is $3,600 per student. And so our plan is we've built as a leadership team and with our fundraising folks here at the university is obviously to do some real aggressive fundraising on our behalf from the university, and then of course the students, our hope is then for them to only have to cover costs at half. And so we're looking at $1,800 for an 8-day trip going to France. It's a pretty great deal for an American, such a significant American event for us. And so we're going to kind of quickly segue into fundraising and how that works for the entire band in general. We're very fortunate at UNC Charlotte that the band is largely fully funded. That's one of the advantages for us, that we're able to provide so much at no cost for these students. But there are things that are not fully funded for which we have to continue to raise funds, and part of that is for our band camp expense, which we've just now gone through, and then of course the continuation of our scholarships that we have to offer to students. They're not every single college that you go to doesn't have the opportunity to provide scholarships to every student that's in the band, and we're very fortunate that we do have that. But it's not just a here's all that money and suddenly everybody gets a scholarship. This is an ongoing process for us, and so this is where you and this is where donors and other family members and friends can actually really get involved. We don't have band moms and dads like you would your traditional band mom and traditional band dad like you would have in high school. We have students that take care of that. We don't have the guard dads and the guard moms and the pit crews and all that sort of stuff. At the collegiate level, the responsibilities and what we appreciate, of course, are through financial contributions. And some of the easiest ways to do that, of course, are to become what's called a bandvicate. And there are many different levels of annual giving that become part of the bandvicate process. And there are different levels of giving that are broken up with that, and some perks, of course, that come along with it too. And then for our band camp expenses and for our endowment for scholarships. And so really for us, priority number one is fundraising to pay for band camp. Many of these students live on campus, as you know, and that's a cost that we pay for those students at no charge to them, but it does cost us about $20,000. And so that's a pretty significant expense. And so that's our priority number one in terms of fundraising, and then scholarships. And then we do have a need, obviously, for funding for our trip to France as well. So there's multiple ways of giving, as I've already kind of mentioned, but if you haven't been to our website yet, check it out. It's a really wonderful website, and Dr. Black is a wizard with websites and whatnot. He really has built the website out to be a usable and friendly site. It's marchingband.uncc.edu. Easy Google search, just search for UNC Charlotte Marching Band, you'll find it. marchingband.uncc.edu, and we do have a Support the Band tab. And from there you can choose all your different options. Currently there is an actual option if you are wanting to give to the trip for Normandy. There is a direct, you can click on the link and it will take you to where the funding would be for that. We're also working to build out a page that's directly for our trip. And so that's the big information for fundraising. I wish we didn't have to say that we needed to raise funds, but that's just the way it is in the nature of what we do. And so anything that you can give is certainly appreciated. And these students all behind you would really appreciate it as well. And there's some signage that's posted, I know, up on the concourse level and up where the tables are and that sort of thing, to also be as a reminder of how you can give. Before I turn it over to the band to give their final piece that they'd like to perform for you, I want to take a moment to thank a couple folks that are here, in addition to yourselves. Of course, Chancellor Dubois was here, and I'm not sure if he's still here, but yep, here, there he is in the back. If you, everybody would say believe we have some, Jackie Simpson, I believe, is here as well, and maybe some other UNC Charlotte administrative folks. If any of those folks are here, if you would stand up and quickly be recognized, we want to thank you for being here and for all of your continued support. Of the College of Arts and Architecture, Ken Lambla, who is unfortunately unable to be here today. Our department chair in the Department of Music, Dr. Jay Grimes, who is here, I believe. Jay, if you'll stand up and say hello. To all of our donors, all those folks that are our champions, we certainly appreciate all of their efforts, and I know that many of you know Vicki and Gene Johnson, unfortunately, are unable to be here today, but all of our donors, we obviously greatly appreciate what you do for us and to help us out. We have a major gifts officer for the College of Arts and Architecture and the Graduate School who's is a phenomenal go-getter and is an alum of the university, Mr. Mark Colon, who I don't believe is here, but let's give Mark a round of applause. If you Jenny Jones is the Executive Director for Alumni Affairs, and she is largely responsible for making sure this has come together as well as it is. And so Jenny's a band person, and not only that, she's just an incredible leader and just a wonderful person. And so she is here. So everybody say thank you to Jenny. And one final time, I would be remiss, I've already thanked Jennifer, but we're going to say thank you one more time for what it is that she does to really keep this program running. So thank you, Jennifer. And son who are here somewhere. I'm floating around here. And to all the spouses and significant others of our staff members, as you all know, it's a lot of dedicated time away from families, early mornings and late nights, and so we certainly appreciate all of their support and effort to allow us to do what we do to present these students to you. And of course, finally, to all of you that are here today. Without your support, these students wouldn't be here. So students, thank you, parents. And likewise, a big heartfelt thank you from me to all of you. As I've already said, thank you. It's an amazing thing that they do for us every year, and it's really an honor to be their director. And so the last thing that we're going to do is perform a piece that's called G's and Niners. As soon as they finish up, we're going to wrap up with the students just for a quick powwow, and then up on the concourse level, there's food that's being provided. There's tables set up there, and so the students will come join you in just a few moments. But as soon as we finish with our performance, please go enjoy some refreshments and some food. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody out this year. And from me to you, go Niners! And here's G's and Niners, please.